In another story that should have the experts asking questions, it appears that things are amiss down under when it comes to fertility, as Australian fertility fell into free fall at the end of 2021. Like clockwork, since 2011, monthly birth rates down under have consistently ranged between 23,000 and 28,000 live births every month, never missing a beat. However, something odd began in October of last year. In that month, Aussie births fell below the recent historic low point, scraping the bottom at around 23,000, which may not seem like much, but still, a drop of almost 10% is somewhat concerning. This was followed up in November with an even larger drop, as November 2021 posted only 18,186, an amount well below the historic range during 2011 to 2021. This represented a drop of another 21% under the previous recent record low set in October of the previous month. Now, for those of us, unlike Bill Gates, who view the world as overpopulated and humans as a scourge on the planet, the loss of thousands and thousands of Australians that should have been, but will never be, is tragic and alarming, and something you would think the Australian government would want to get to the bottom of. Even if it wasn't, surely the December 2021 figures that followed would be enough to grab their attention as they got progressively worse. The December 2021 figures recently released tallied in at an anemic 6,659, which at first glance would have been thought to be a mistake. I mean, there's no possible way they could be right. Sadly, they are. The December report was literally 1/4 of the average monthly births during the last 10 years, a figure that is far below anything ever recorded. Simply put, 75% less children were born in the month of December. Now, given our data manipulation culture, where data is weaponized to support a narrative, I'm sure someone will be accusing me of cherry-picking the data by only going back to 2011. Surely the numbers must have been similar prior to that. Well, I found the official Australian records going back to 1975, which I put a link in the notes below. Now, given the seriousness of the story and what it could potentially be pointing to, which I'm sure some of you are tracking with me on, there would be folks out there who would want to dismiss this as a non-story. One such individual is our friend Glenn, the census expert. He, along with corporate media, would have you believe the government narrative of nothing to see here, folks. Now, how did Glenn achieve or do this? Well, he employed the fact that in every lie, there is a kernel of truth. On November 3rd, on his blog, he published the headline, "Australia's birth rate increases for the first time in 10 years. Now, the law of contradiction would tell us both things can't be true. In other words, you can't have the highest birth rate in 10 years and the sharpest declines. You're right. So let's take a look at how Glenn did the impossible. For openers, I'll concede, Glenn's right, in that 2021 had a little baby boom in the first quarter. Could be due to a prolonged period of Aussie lockdowns with nothing else to do. Aussies did what Aussies do. So when you add up all the births for 2021, it comes to slightly 5% more than the 10-year average. But Glenn omitted from his post what happened during the last 3 quarters of 2021, the precipitous drop. He especially ignored the fact that December 2021 posted the lowest births for any month since tracking began in 1975. Now, if it was a marginal difference, but folks, it's not even close, then it wouldn't matter. The next lowest month after December 2021 that you will find is November 1978, which came in at 17,742 births. So, since 1975, there's never ever been a month under 10,000. Never, and that's even with a smaller overall Australian population back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Now, if I was a census expert, I would think that this little fact would at least make me curious. No? Yes, I can read your mind. Some of you who are more inquisitive than Glenn are thinking, could this have anything to do with the recent, introduction of pharmaceutical interventions? Interventions that 72% of all Australian citizens of all ages have received at least 3 doses of? I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm sure Australian mothers would like to have the answers. The million-dollar question, of course, is, did this troubling trend continue? Or did births recover in 2022 and this short period was simply an outlier? The future survival of a nation may very well depend on an answer to that question. Now, those statistics I haven't seen yet and they're not out, but once again, feel free to take a look at the numbers yourself that I've discussed, and by all means tell me if I've arrived at an incorrect conclusion. I welcome your comments. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can also follow me on my Rumble and my Locals. If you're new to the channel, check out all the other videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, jump on board, and I'll see you next time.